riding Dave's Sherco, my buddy from Texas. He's up visiting family. And I said, hey, can I ride your bike for a second? He's like, sure. I ride a lot of different bikes. And it takes a sec, you know, to get used to it, but... And Dave is about 40 pounds heavier than me. I'm pretty light right now. I'm about 160. Dave said he's about 200, so he's got this thing set up. Actually, he's got it set up to do hard charging Texas, open Texas stuff. Oh boy. Sorry, Dave. I think that was your foot peg. So, he's got it set up to do hard charging Texas stuff. And he's 40 pounds heavier than me. So, I'm certainly riding high in the stroke. But these Shercos are nothing to shake a stick at. Front end feels great. I don't have enough sag, but that means front end handling is sharp.
Oh, I have to laugh at myself sometimes. I sound like my grandpa. These Shercos are nothing to shake a stick at. The translation for anyone under like 75 is they're good. The Shercos are really, really good. When I'm on a Sherco, I mean, there's only one part of them that is a little bit different for me, and that's foot pegs and handlebar height, and I'm going to talk about that later, because as you're riding them you get to feel it, that your foot pegs are either a little bit higher or your handlebars are a little bit lower. Either way, the net effect is that your hands are closer to your feet, and so you're hunched over more. And so obviously that's something you can get used to. You can drop your foot pegs a little bit, you can raise your handlebars a little bit if it's an issue to you, or you can just get used to it. For me, I'm used to standing a little bit taller on a lot of the other bikes, the Yamaha, the Kawasaki, the KTMs, the Huskies, all of these bikes, I stand up a little bit taller. You know, so the Sherco, it puts you more in an attack position. You need your back, your low back, to be really, you know, dialed in for that. But I mean, the forks on these bikes are amazing, and the handling on them is very sharp. Brakes are good, clutch is good. It's a lot to like.
But you literally got to see the first minute of me on the bike. I wasn't riding for more than a minute before I started the recording. Ow! You can definitely feel those flat Sherco foot pegs. Rockier stuff that this fork suffers a bit. It's too stiff for me and that stuff.
Okay, so what I'm about to say may kind of sound weird, but what I would encourage you to do is ride as many different bikes as you can. I'm not a great rider. I'm an okay rider, but one of the things that I think I do a little bit above average than most people is I adapt quicker to riding different machines than a lot of other people, and it's probably because I ride a lot of different machines. I rarely ride the same bike twice. Although recently I've ridden my 250XC several times in a row because of other circumstances I won't bore you with. But I rarely ride one bike twice. I'm riding, you know, different bikes. And I think it helps you to get comfortable. It's kind of discouraging if you like lock into one bike and you modify it out so much and you change all of these things and you get it dialed in and customized so well, and you know, you're just feeling at one with that bike, and then you go to ride someone else's bike and you can't even ride it and you feel like you're a fish out of water. That's a frustrating and a discouraging thing. I know, because I've been that guy. And so I try to keep my bikes, you know, relatively stock. Obviously you can customize some things here and there to fit it to you, and everyone's situation is different, but I like the fact that I can switch from one bike to the next, and you know, lever position might be something, you know, but most people have lever position pretty good, and or you know, in a relatively neutral position, and then you can just jump from one bike to the next, and it makes it a lot of fun.
Those handlebars are definitely lower. Hunched over more. Feels like the foot pegs are higher than on my 250 XC, so I'm hunched over. It's like the distance between my hands and my feet on this bike is not as much as it is on the Kato.
You know, something that's interesting to me is the longer I ride and the more experience I gain, the more little things I notice about bikes. I mean, years ago, I wouldn't have even noticed what I just said there. I was just, you know, I just feel like I'm on a different bike. But as you ride more and more, you start to like be able to describe what you're feeling. And I look forward. I always hear about, you know, different people who seem to be able to have a better grasp of what the suspension is doing. Like they can tell if they've got, you know, too much. This compression is too slow or too fast, or the rebound is too slow or too fast. And I feel like I'm kind of on the horizon of being able to feel that. Sometimes I feel like, okay, that's bouncing too much. It's one thing to be able to, you know, identify your compression. It's another thing to be able to identify the rebound on your forks and in your shock. And I just look forward to, you know, being able to gain better perspectives of that with, you know, as I ride longer and longer.
I can start to feel it in my low back already. A little bit more. More of a burn. You're just hunched over a little bit more on these bikes.